Hi everyone, I am, or have been, working in Photoshop, and I wanted to make some covers. So this is fairly heavy cardstock. I think it's either 90 or 110 pound. I have both, so yeah, this might be the 90 pound. And what I've done is I've made two covers on one sheet of paper. I want to make little note cards for Happy Mail and also Christmas gifts. So we put that aside. What I've done is I've taken these two, cut all the white edges off around the edges, and cut right down the middle. And if they're not exactly perfect, it's not really a big deal. I think I have figured it out to cutting. I got this, it's actually a pastel cream color paper from Staples, and it's just print paper. And I believe, just let me double check count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I did eight pieces of paper, and I cut them by 5 1/4 inches. No, first of all, I cut them 8 inches down. 8 inches down here. So you're cutting a 1/2 inch off. The measurements for the inside papers are 8 inches, so you're cutting a 1/2 off, by 5 1/4 inches high. So this is what you end up with. 8 inches wide and 5 1/4 inches high, which, if you turn this over and you see that it fits inside our cover page very nicely. And I'm going to get out my bone folder now. And I'm going to, see, these are 8 1/8. Oh, doesn't that make me happy? You know what? The best thing to do is when you have, for me anyways, because I am not a math person, I'm going to take my page, I'm going to fold it in half as best I can. Okay? And use a bone folder, because that does help. So this is the front cover, and this is the back. Okay? And I'm going to take my papers that I cut. As you can see, maybe I'll zoom in here on this a little bit so that you can see my measurements. Hopefully it's not blown out because it's white. It's 8 inches. I cut them at 8 inches by 5 1/4, but it's not exact. I'm finding every cutter is different. So anyways, all I want to do at this point is to score this in half, which would be at 4. And I'm taking too many pages probably at one time, and that doesn't matter. But I'm doing it anyway. I just don't want to pierce through the paper, because when you're dealing with printer paper, that's what can happen. So I'm going to fold these in half now, and I'm going to fold and fold. Now, at this point, we will have a little booklet. And for now, I know I brought some, just not sure where I put them. Oh, here they are. I brought a couple of elastic bands because this is kind of how I work. I don't have a stapler big enough to get in there. So I'll probably take this to my sewing machine after. And I'm going to, I should have done this at the same time when I was doing the scoring. I'm just going to score them right down the middle at 4 inches. And I will have the measurements underneath in the bottom in the description box. Okay. These are so fun to make, really. And it doesn't take long. It took me a while to make the covers, which I'm going to give you for free, by the way. They will be on my blog tonight. I'm just going to fold this in half to make life easier. This isn't a perfect science. That fits in there. I'm just going to put an elastic on this for a minute. And you have a little booklet. There's the front and there's the back. Okay? Now, what I would do with this before you stitch it, and it doesn't matter how you stitch it. I mean, if you have a stapler that can reach in this far, great. If you've got a big bite that can punch a couple of holes, tiny holes in here, I would rather use a pokey tool and then hand stitch it. Just put 2 little holes in. I mean, it's not holding much. It wouldn't take very long to make, and actually I'll go through that with you in a minute. But what I want to do with the outsides of this is I want to use a little vintage photo. Just because we have some white edges, and that just gets rid of everything. And because I was a digital designer for a long time, I have a lot of commercial use items that I use, like overlays and things like that. The images that I have used in here came from the Graphics Berry, and I also have a free image blog. If you go to my homepage on YouTube and click on About, my image site is listed there. So there's that one. This one here, I'll just slip off the elastic and do the same thing. Just something a little different than mixed media, because I do a lot of different things. I don't just do collage and mixed media and that. I do many things. I sew. I love to create in Photoshop. So yes, so there are our 2 books, front and back. and I've used cream color, and it doesn't matter if you do or you don't. If you don't have cream, use white. But I think they're really cute little note cards, and you can use a stamp. I've left enough room that you can stamp something on here to make it more personal. Even on the inside cover, you can add something. This could be a little mini notebook that you might want to, carry in your own purse, and just write little notes. You can print them over and over and over. I'm going to see what I can do. I may end up doing, more covers for these little note cards. So, anyways, yeah, I'm going to stitch these and probably use them for myself, these two. And I'm going to make a bunch more for Christmas stocking stuffers because, oh my goodness, it's coming. And it's going to come quick. So, I hope I've been out of frame most of the time. I'm so sorry. I hope you like this. These will be posted on my blog. Okay, so I had said that I was going to show you how to stitch these together if you don't want to use a sewing machine. So I'm just going to, I kind of, put my thumbs in here, eyeball, kind of poke a hole. I'm going through the cover and everything. If you can see that. So I'm just going to do 2 holes. I've already thread my needle with I'm using linen, wax linen thread, and I'm just going to stitch 1 time through there because there's not, and I had too much linen thread here, and just tie a knot, and I think it's I always want to remember the name of that knot, but I never can. Left over right, right over left, whatever. And I'm just going to kind of leave that in the middle. So now this is stitched together. So I'm just leaving it as it is. Now another option, a long time ago, I dyed my own what do they call this? I dyed my own ribbon. I think it's seam binding. Just basic seam binding. But you can't just use your pokey hole tool to poke the holes now, because this is quite a bit heavier. So I'm going to use the small setting on my, let me move this back out of the way. I'm going to use the small tool on my big bite. I think it's the small one, isn't it? Maybe it isn't. Hang on. No, that's the big one. Okay, we're going to use the small one to poke a hole through here. There's one, and approximately 1 inch further down I'm going to do another one. So now I've got, as you can see, 2 holes, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to you know what, I think I'm going to tie it on the outside this time, and hopefully I can feed this through and get it. Yeah, I can. See, if your holes are big enough, you can do this. Just have a piece that you can kind of get going through. I can grab that. Yeah, I can. And it depends on how much of a tail you're going to want here. I dyed a lot of ribbons back in the day. So I'm going to just tie this in kind of a cute little, well, I think I'm going to knot it. And if I want to do a, you know, kind of a bow after, I can. Yeah, I think I will. Just a little one. And they're cute. And you can hang anything from these, but I wouldn't. If you're putting it in your purse, you want it to be, you know, handy. So it looks cute in the middle, although I'm not centered. I'm close. You know, for me, it's okay. For my gifts, I'm going to make a template. Making a template is so easy peasy. I'm serious. I'm just looking for a real quick piece of... I have a piece of cardstock here, not far. I'm just going to cut a little... I like to use about 2 inches when I'm doing a template, so I'm just going to cut a 2-inch piece. And I'm going to score this in half. And where did I put it? Well, alrighty then. I probably went over it here. Hang on a second. I will find it. Here it is. I'm going to score it at 1 inch. And I'm going to fold it over. Use my bone folder. And I'm just going to measure, just roughly, mark a tick right there. And I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that right at the tick. So you've got a template now. You can measure your holes with a ruler. This happens to be 5.5 inches, so I don't have my center ruler. So I'm just going to do a 6-inch thingy, and I'm just going to mark this at the half, just kind of so that you know that they're right in the middle. And that way when you use this or you use your pokey tool, either way you're going to be 100% in the middle. And you can use this type of template for any book that you make. And however many stitches you want in, it can be 6 or 10 inches long. This is what I do with my templates. I make a template for my pokey hole, my pokey tool, and I mark them all out first, and then I go through everything. So pretty simple to make. So that gives you 2 ideas, or if you're handy, you can go to your sewing machine and you can just stitch them. Long stitch. Don't make it short. Should be a long stitch. I usually set it probably to 3.5, 4 stitches to the inch, so that it's not going to perforate it, so that it'll just you know, kind of tear out, unless that's the kind of booklet you want, because sometimes we do want to tear out our notes, but it's entirely up to you. So I've given you a number of options here. So I hope that that's helped. Okay? I hope you enjoy these. Try them. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.